Hi there, welcome to today's Friday Devotional. If you are following along in the Together in the Word reading plan, you will know that we just recently finished the book of Lamentations. Now, you can tell from the name, even if you've never read the book, that it's kind of not going to be the most happy, upbeat book that there is. Well, you'd be right. Lamentations is full of lament and mourning and struggle, and I'll be honest that I had a hard time with it. So I was really glad that it was short, and I tried really hard not to just skim read and try to invest in the content a little bit more and allow the Lord to lead me in my reading. And so what I did this time, which I don't do with every book, but this time in particular, I followed the footnotes in my Bible. And one of these footnotes took me to Psalm 73, verses 16 and 17. And so I want to read those to you. When I tried to understand all this, it was oppressive to me. Till I entered the sanctuary of God, then I understood their final destiny. Now, coming from the book of Lamentations, where there's a lot of things happening that are not easy to hear. There's not always a lot of hope, even though Jeremiah did talk about hope in that book. But what I found being really interesting with these particular verses in Psalms in relation to Lamentations is how it was so descriptive of the human condition, I guess, that we as humans can get focused and fixated on our perspective on whatever's happening. We can see something, see a situation or a person or some struggle that we have through a certain specific lens. And when we do that, we can sometimes get caught in the trap of thinking this is all there is. This is exactly what it is. I see it for face value. But these verses in Psalm reminded me how it's not always true, because my perspective is limited. My understanding is small in comparison to God's understanding. And if I lean on my understanding, I can kind of give into the oppression, the destruction, of how just things are so hard. But with these verses, they reminded me that bringing things into the presence of God can change things. It can shift the ultimate perspective I have on whatever's happening around me, in me, or with the people I love. And so I'm wondering how many of us are struggling with that right now, that we have a particular situation or person or just something that we're struggling with that seems really fixed on this one way. So I'd ask you, have you brought it into the presence of Jesus? Have you invited him into that situation or that relationship to show you his perspective? Now, maybe he won't show you the whole thing, how it's going to work out, how he's going to answer all the prayers, how he's going to lead you through it. But what he will do is he will put things in perspective and guide you along the way. Even the reminder that he has a bigger plan than we do is sometimes exactly what we need to hear from him. And in relation to this, I'm reminded of him in Proverbs chapter 3, it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him and he will direct your path. And this is a very similar vein, that aside from being in his presence, we can't fully understand what's going on. We can't fully understand why things aren't working out a certain way. But when we bring them into his presence, we are invited to trust him. We're invited to see how he is big and he is great. And everything that we have to deal with is small in comparison. And he will guide us through that. So I'm encouraging each one of us today, myself included, to go into this weekend, going to this next week even, and intentionally bring these things that we are dealing with, whether it's a person, whether it's a situation, whether it's the global news that we deal with on a daily basis. Bring that into his presence and just see what he has to say, because he has a better understanding than we do, which I'm so glad that he does, and we need that daily and moment by moment. So blessings to you today, friend. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for pressing play, and until next time, God bless.